Alright guys, so it's almost Christmas time, so I need to try to get through this as fast as I can. Let me see what I think we came up with. Alright, Chad's putting his thinking hat on. I think he's coming up with a plan. I think we're going to be moving to steel instead of aluminum. We can go 1 inch thick. And we should be just fine at that when we'll get wood in the middle of the tube. We'll likely have 3 joists to a 4x8 sheet. So we're just measuring it out to know how much we want to put on there. It's a good view of what a Winnebago roof looks like though.
Let's see, we did one at 2 foot, that's 1. One at 4 foot, that's 2. That's 4. Can't run one here.
No, we went with steel because I did a high-tech test using the aluminum that we had in stock. I walked out on it and the aluminum deflected a lot more than the steel did, so that was our engineering and why we came up with steel. We're trying to keep this as rigid as possible. Weight is a concern, but not as big a concern as a drooping roof. I was thinking aluminum, but it did seem to deflect too much. And because Winnebago already uses steel screwing down right there, and of course right here, those ribs that Winnebago installs, you'll notice there's no way this is structural, in the sense that it would have been really easy because it's supposed to be up on end like that. So there's not a lot of strength to it. It's mostly just going to be strapping from one side wall to the other one so that the sidewalls don't open up. So now we're going to be really adding some strength or some structure to this roof. And at the front right there, I figured steel must be good enough up here. So we're going to go ahead and use this, I think it's about 2x1 tube steel. What we will do is fill it with wood to act as a little bit more structure and make it a little bit more rigid. It'll also grab screws a little bit better too. I think we went with 1/8 inch wall on our we went with 1/8 inch. So this is just a scrap piece we were going with. And the steel didn't seem to deflect as much as when we put it on. So we'll fill that in. To get this to sit flush, we'll have to notch out about 5/8 of an inch of it, right there. So it'll fit down on there. Now we won't notch it until we get the wood in there. That way the wood will keep the wood from, or the metal from expanding out when we screw down from the top. Then we'll use those as actual trusses in order to put these in, because they're going to have to be recessed into the styrofoam. That's what I got. I'll make a marker everywhere we're going to put one on, and then we'll put the hot knife in to basically route out a channel rather than risking it with making a huge mess with styrofoam and a router. Then we'll lay on, we're going to go with 3/16 Luan at first. 1/4 inch plywood. Its structure is a little bit less forgiving, and so it can warp a little bit better, and we don't want it to warp. So we'll go with 3/16, which is 30% thicker than the 1/8 inch. So it's a little bit stronger for sure, just in that. And we'll walk on it with the 3/16. If that still doesn't feel good, we'll put another layer of 3/16 on top of it. So that should make a pretty good setup, because what we got, that'd be 6/16, so that would be 3/8, which is pretty good. Because also we don't want to, when we raise up this deck, it's going to raise up this line on the molding. So when this cap molding goes back on, if we were to go up 1/2 inch or more, that would make this line go up, be exposed 1/2 inch. So 3/16, that's a good fudge marker. We start going much bigger than that, it's going to really start to affect the radiuses where they wrap around on the top. Because if we were to go up 1/2 inch, we'd have to like start doing something crazy with that radius. And we're going to try to not do anything too crazy. So that's the plan. We'll probably do a few of these, make sure everything's going all right, and then I'll kind of show you how it works and how we're doing. After that, it's just going to be a standard Winnebago laminated roof. There's only one thing that's going to be a little bit different on this one. These roofs are a little bit wider than a normal laminated Winnebago roof. So from the outside of the outside of there is about 8 foot 4 inches and it's really difficult to find Luan paneling and any lengths greater than 8 feet. But from the inside here to the inside of that one, we're looking at, I think, 7 foot 10 inches. So if we go, I made a mark somewhere over there. So right about here, and the same amount on that side is 8 foot exactly. So we should be able to land the paneling so it's actually on both, on this this header on both sides. We'll just have to make a filler strip on either sides to make up for that 2 inches we're missing on each side. And then when the pylon goes on top, the pylon's 10 feet wide, so it'll be way too wide. Then it'll be nice on the pylon because we don't have to tuck on these. We'll just router the edge and that'll be done. All right, enough talking. Let's get to work. Now, ideally, it would be nice to put a crown on this roof so that it wasn't a completely flat roof. But in order for me to put a crown on the roof, I would have to basically put a crown on the foam, just like the other Winnebago roofs are, because this is going to be still laminated. So I need to make sure that the Luan and the pylon can all come in contact with each other. And there's no way that I'm ever going to keep that foam. I could never sculpt it to be perfectly flat. So perfectly smooth with whatever contour I put on it. So I'm not even going to try that. But yes, ideally, a crown would be better. Tell Winnebago that. I got the steel right here. Mike is going to unload it. It's a lot of weight to add to that motorhome there.
A lot of weight to add to that 1500 there.
Hey, Chad made it back with some lumber for us.
Yes.
Them some furring strips.
Yeah.
It's for furring.
3/4 wide.
Perfect.
So we only have to cut it once.
That's better than twice.
Yes.
Alright, so it looks like the inside, or ID, is 1.5 inches.
1 3/4.
1 3/4. I can read a tape measure. So 1 5/8 or 11/16. Do you want to go for the wood?
I'd say go a tiny bit smaller just because
Well, let's start with 11/16 and see.
wood imperfections and whatnot.
Yes. So we cut this down to 1 11/16. I'm going to write it down in the important spot. There you go. There's my notepad. 1 11/16. Alright, that's pretty close. Because again, I just don't have the patience for perfect. That's some thick wall stuff you got there.
You gotta be strong.
Should be all the way down to the end. There's oh, it's past the end. Well, it looks like on the next ones I can definitely get away with 1 3/4. I'm just not trying to struggle here trying to push wood into there. Besides, you got to leave room for expansion and contraction, right? All right, now we just have to notch it. That should be the notch. So down and then to this, right?
Yeah. Cutting on the line.
Are you?
Nice little sawzall surgery.
Maybe the grinder will be better. Do you not have a battery powered grinder? I mean, electric grinder?
Oh, I probably do.
Just cut it down. What do you think, Chad? Only like 20 more of these to do.
Yeah, we'll get faster and faster.
Yeah, for sure. Maybe. Let's do the other side and see how this thing works the first time. Once we get this thing done the first time, then it's just going to be like that every single time. We'll have to see it each time. So it's kind of hard to see. You can see right in that plinth on that tunnel. That's the AC ductwork. I'll push down right there. Can you see that notch? That's the AC duct. So there's a tunnel that goes right here, right to there. So it's really, really thin right here. You see that crack? Because that's right where the AC ductwork is. So we can't really go much deeper than that with the truss. All right, so this will line up right there. I'm on my cool platform. Chad's making sure I'm squared to the sidewall.
He is an L7 for sure.
And now I can just okay, now we can move this out of the way, right? And now we try the experiment. There's a heavy duty one. Are you pulling down all the way?
Yeah.
Huh.
It was vibrating.
Okay. Ooh. So if my calculations are correct, I just have to go to the top of these bins.
Now I get to be the videographer.
You're a videographer.
Don't mess it up. There's no going back. So steady. He's like a ninja. Or a monk.
All right, well, see if all this was worth it.
And the doctor says, I think she fits.
A little tight right about here.
That's what we call foam surgery.
I didn't go to
You didn't go to foam surgery school for nothing?
surgery school.
I did. Oh, we can even clamp it right there.
Oh yeah? Like the hillbillies?
Yeah, the clampets.
The clampets. Give them the clampets.
Give him the clamps, yeah.
Now, there's really nothing special about this whole setup I'm doing here. There's just some Romex from a unnamed job that had extra wire on it. I just took the ground wire out of it. I bent a profile into it and put it into where the iron would have gone. That's it. That's as high tech as this gets. I think this is working pretty well. So here we go. I just have my Romex wire. I think this is just 12-2. Now I just have to match a profile. I'll use some needle nose and bend it around, and then we'll see how it looks. All right, look at that. Just like that, I made a profile of it. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to be using some foam adhesive, some expanding foam adhesive to actually secure the metal to the styrofoam too. So as long as I have a good channel in there, it'll be nice and clean. I'll clean this stuff up. And I got high hopes about this. All right, so that's about right there. I'll cut these to length. And I'm gonna start making some channels. That looks good. Profile on my test piece was a little bit different. This one will be better. You're so good at that? Were you trained?
Yeah.
We were going to go ahead and put one here and there, but the AC is heaviest in the back, and where 2 feet lands is right there. So it seems redundant to put one there and then another one 6 inches away. So that seems redundant to me, because this will be the middle of a panel that way. The middle of the panel's going to overlap that styrofoam seam. And you can see the next styrofoam seam will be there, so that'll be in the middle of the panel again too. Hopefully that keeps laying out that way as we go up there. We haven't decided if we need to add steel in the back, since that seemed fine, because it has walls underneath it supporting it. Waiting for Chad to make the decision on that. He's the smart one.
Bend that a little bit.
What'd you do? Now you can definitely see those channels where the AC vents we're gonna go are now. That's just the ceiling right there. That's just a hollow where the air flows. That's why it's cracked right there. It's very thin. So this will form the roof of the vent again, or that duct. But what we will do is we'll add some tape right here so that when we do the expanding foam, it won't seal off that duct, because we don't want that. So yeah, this is working really good. Really nice. We're gonna get a jack on the inside to lift up the ceiling so that we can continue going forward. But I think maybe one more back this way. Haven't decided yet. All right, so I got a bottle jack in here. I'm gonna reinforce the ceiling now. Push back up on it. I don't know how far to go. I have to go up on top. I've only had somebody helping me. Well, so here's the first place where we're running into interference. You got a sewer vent right there, the skylight right there, so I can't go in the middle of the skylight for sure. And over here I have just offset is that 14 by 14 vent. And if I were to line up with it right there, that would put me dead center of the sewer vent. So I can't do that. And if I go on this side forward of the sewer vent, it would be right through this 14 by 14. So I have to back that off at least to there. The only downside is that I think that's a little over 48 inches from this point to that point. So this is going to be some more thinking, more having to think. So it's not ideal. It looks like I'm going to have to, so having a 4 by 8 sheet on top right here, so it'll have to be 2 cut panels, because I want to make sure that wherever this is going to be, it's not free floating on the other side. Because if you were to walk on it, you'd have the panel that would be stuck on here and the other one that would be able to push down past it. And I'd prefer not to do that. So I think I'm going to have to do a short panel to there. Just a inch and or a foot and a half panel to there. And then we just go to the front. Also, Chad,
James?
I think the biggest problem is we were trying to thread the needle and be perfect.
Bigger?
So I went bigger, and this one was perfect.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Yeah, and the wires go under it just fine. And I was able to reroute that Romex too.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, we just have to go a little bit deeper. So we're into the duct a little bit. That's no big deal. Like I said, I think we're just threading the needle, and then these are bowed, so it's hard to get a straighter on that one.
Yeah, that's good.
Here I am in an island of styrofoam, just sitting on a piece of plywood. We're gonna do the last one. We had 10 total. 10 total ribs. Should be a strong roof after we're done. I'm almost done here. I think the good news is, even underneath this steel we're going to be putting on, there's still going to be foam, so it won't be a true thermal bridge, bringing the weather completely inside. It'll still have some separation. I'm not sure how much else could be done. I don't know if Winnebago needs to redesign something. Or they did redesign something. But I'm also really quite surprised how well this is working. So you can see this roof's, I'm not hitting anything here, the roof's just down a little bit right there. But We're almost done. Okay, now my knees are gonna be happier. There it was, the last one. See those tunnels right there? That's just the AC vent. If I were to get you guys down in there. There's the AC. You can see it all the way down there. So I don't think we should be too visible, but we'll use a black tape so it can't be seen. And I don't know, Winnebago didn't give us much choice on this. There we go, they're all put in. Now it's just time to put the ribs in and put this roof back together. Now of course, we didn't have to use that hot knife. We could have just used a router bit or even a utility knife and a razor blade and just wheedle our way through. I just didn't want to make a big mess, and it was a lot easier to pick this stuff up than styrofoam dust. Also, there's wires that I would have to make sure I didn't snag with a razor blade or a router bit. And the router bit would have probably grabbed a hold, and we got pretty crazy. So this seemed the easiest. Alright guys, I'm trying out the heavier duty one. I don't know. So when the lights turn on, it's heating up. But if you pull the trigger back all the way, it turns it off. So you have to be like halfway. That's kind of annoying. But it does seem to heat up a little bit better. Ooh, that was nice. That was almost fun. Oh, that is better. I can't deny that.
Now I get to be the videographer.
You're a videographer.
Don't mess it up. There's no going back. That's a lie. You can always go back. More foam.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have to be perfect, right?
No.
Foam's compressible. And the glue will hopefully
Expand.
hide it all.
This is working much better than the other one you had earlier.
Well, I did get two just in case.
It's James always covering his corners.
You know, it's a boring video when you just show one angle.
Well, what do you want to do?
I don't know. Go in and out like the MTVs. Remember the MTV video?
So steady. He's like a ninja. Or a monk. I would say there's the ductwork right there.
I found the ductwork.
That's what that little hole would be. It's better than, wires in the roof.
Well, yeah, the foam will fill the gap too. So we're putting foam down.
Yeah.
Can't believe you're doing me in landscape mode or in portrait mode. You're killing me.
I had to go long ways to get the whole picture, James. I thought you knew that. Now we're getting a rear end shot.
I always have to edit out your butt crack.
Yeah. It's there. It's a problem. For everyone else, not my problem. You don't want to see it, don't look at it. Don't be a pervert.
I didn't say I didn't want to see it.
Didn't you know?
Do you think it's worth the hassle?
Yeah. Didn't you know I used to be a plumber?
I did.
Sure do lay pipe.
Ah. Besides, can you imagine using a router on all this?
They make a huge mess. Two more feet to go. What's up that super crooked Sharpie line there, James? Are you drinking?
Maybe. Why you gotta be so harsh on James?
Just know me. Harsh on everyone. Especially James.
You said it was 2 feet. This is like 4 feet. You got me
Well-
all excited.
Well, you know, I measure like Micah off of dirt bikes. Yeah, about half dirt bike left. James, like 4 more inches.
4 more inches? About
Like a third of a dirt bike.
20 more inches.